Okay, good morning, everybody. In the previous class, we had discussion on post-harvest management of fruits, post-harvest management of flowers. Isn't it? Is it right? Sachin? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
In the previous class, we had a discussion on post-harvest management of fruits and also post-harvest management of vegetables. So today, let us have a discussion on post-harvest handling of the flower crops. So this just I am for your convenience. I have tried to combine all the informations which are applicable to the flowers. Some of the information may be repeated because pre-cooling, for example, pre-cooling is an operations which is to be done for most of the horticulture commodities. The very intention of doing pre-cooling is removal of the field heat, isn't it? So field heat is removed for the fruits after harvesting, and we also studied that field heat has been removed for the removal of the heat from the vegetables. And likewise, even in the flower crops, the first and foremost operations that also comes under, that's also repeated here. But in your notes, which I have given, the pre-cooling may be quoted somewhere else, and the methods of the pre-cooling that I have quoted in the notes. But those things I am touching in one of the other chapters, one of the other PowerPoints. But your notes is separately given in the separate under the pre-cooling chapter. So various steps involved in post-harvest handling of the flower crops. The first and foremost operation we will follow is the pre-cooling. Pre-cooling is another way, as we studied in the previous class. It's a removal of field heat from the commodities, as the field has a temperature like say for 28, 30 degrees Celsius temperature in the outside climatic conditions. Either similar temperature or 1 degree less than the environmental temperature will be there in the commodity. So at that temperature, the commodity gets deteriorated, spoiled, shriveled, or shrunken quickly. So to maintain them for longer periods, we have to remove the field heat from maybe 28 degrees Celsius to maybe bring it to the water temperature, maybe around the 6-7 degrees Celsius or 8 degrees Celsius or 10 degrees Celsius, so that the commodities can be stored for longer time. So that is the reason pre-cooling is done. Then pulsing. Pulsing is another important operations. It is just to motivating the flower here. The flower after detachment from the mother plants, it starts losing its moisture from the petals and the leaves, and it loses its luster or shininess and looks like dull appearance and looks shriveled or shrunken, or its stalk may bend. So what kind of flowers we need? Maybe anthurium or gerbera, whatever, the stalk should be erect. Petals should be erect. Petals should be shiny. So to get that event, we should make the harvested flowers stout, sturdy, and erect positions. To motivate that, we do the pulsing operation. Pulsing is a process of dipping of the flowers, we can say, in a concentrated solution of the sugars or some other this kind of chemicals. So those chemicals, they act as a motivating molecules or chemicals to maintain their turgidity or pulpiness, bulginess, erectness, freshness. Those things will be maintained by using the pulsing solutions. And we also see the grading, as we saw in the previous crops, the fruit crops. Grading is a process of removal of separation of the commodity. In the previously we studied that grading is a process of separation of the fruits based on the size, shape, color, and all, presence or absence of blemishes. But here, grading is a process of separation of the harvested flowers based on the opening of the buds or presence, opening or unopening of the buds, which is based on the stalk length, the stalk which we need, stalk length, size of the bud, size of the shape of the petal, color of the petal, presence or absence of the leaves, number of flowers present in a bunch. So based on that, we take up the grading here. Then, of course, I will be showing you the detailed gradings of each and every flowers later in the forthcoming slides. So this is the grading is here. Mainly flowers are graded based on the size of the bud, opening or unopening condition of the bud, number of flowers present in a per bunch, stalk length. Stalk length is very important internationally. What is the length of the stalk you are retaining? In the rose and gladiolus, gerbera, anthurium, there the stalk is important. So stalk length retained on with the flower is also important. Then we take up the packaging. In the previously we studied the packaging of fruits and vegetables by using wooden crates, plastic crates, and different carton boxes and all in head loads and all. Here also we come across some of the traditional method of packaging materials and the improved method of packaging materials that we'll be seeing through the slides. Then storage. We'll also be studying in the storage of the flowers. The storage means here, what for the storage is? Storage is mainly for keeping the commodity, keeping the flowers for longer period. So storage, there may be either ambient storage under room temperature, in the cold storage or refrigerated storage, or controlled atmospheric storage where gaseous composition is altered in the storage, or modified atmospheric storage where the commodities are stored in a condition where internal atmosphere gets modified. So those things we will be studying one by one. Then we also, after storing, we also send the commodity to different places where exactly they are demanded or required. So we need to sift these flowers in a refrigerated conditions only in a reefer vans or refrigerated transport system. And then we also come across the export and what are the requirement needed for flowers, or what are the qualities expected from the flowers for export business. So those things I will be touching today through the various slides. So this I already told. This is pre-cooling removal of this one. It may be done by various means, or sprinkling water, dipping in water, or passing the cool air, or cold water, or ice cold water for 2 to 3 hours. It is only for short period. So this cooling is this one is fluidity is removed. So what are the advantages of pre-cooling then? Prabha, ಏನೈತಿ ಏನು ಗದ್ದಲ ಐತಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಾಗ ಬಾಗಲ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ So this, it reduces the respiration rate. It reduces the respiration rate because we dip in the water, the temperature is removed. Because the temperature is lower down, higher the temperature, more will be the respirations. Lower the temperature, lesser will be the respiration rate. So reduces the respiration because of the bringing them in the cooler conditions. Then, because we are cooling them, the bud opening will be late. If it is bud is opened as it is left outside, bud open quickly by utilizing the outer climatic conditions. So because we are cooling them, bud opening is late. And decrease the breakdown of nutritional and stored materials. And means what are the stored materials? The stem is looked erect. Stem looked erect because of presence of stuff food materials, xylem filled with water and phloem filled with food. And because of the fullness of those two channels, the stem looks erect and leaves looks fresh, erect, green, and petals looks fresh and stout and sturdy. And because we are dipping them in the water, removing the field heat, they will be good in conditions. Then prevents rapid water loss. So because we believe them, the water loss will be very slow. And flower senescence. So ultimately the flower senescence means it's going towards the lost aging, going towards aging. So aging will be delayed. Aging of the flower will be delayed. Then decrease the flower sensitivity to the ethylene. And if the naturally cut flowers is kept as it is, it will be very sensitive to the ethylene which is produced in by the fruits or the presence in the environment. It will be more sensitive at a higher temperature. So because we are reducing the temperature through pre-cooling, the ethylene will be sensitive to ethylene will be less. So this is all about the preamble of this one, about the pre-cooling. Then methods to improve the post-harvest life and quality of the cut flowers. So one of the important operations done in the post-harvest management of flowers is conditioning. Conditioning is nothing but the hardening. Conditioning is a process done to restore the turgor of the flowers wilted after harvest, storage or transport. So it is the conditioning is keeping them in the best positions, turgid positions, healthy positions. Here turgidity should be maintained. You know the turgidity means turgorness means the flower should be stuffed. The stalks should be filled with the water and all nutrients. It will be straight and those conditions. So that is the condition called as, that is the process called as conditioning. How the conditioning is done is, here the demineralized water supplemented with germicides. So either 8 HQC or 8 HQS it is and acidified with the citric acid. These things are, the chemicals are mixed with water and dipped in the stalk content is dipped in this solution so that the flower stalk will be turgid and it will not be bent. It will be erect all the time. And some of the venting agents like tween 20 and those things can also be used for maintaining the turgidity. So that is for the turgidity, making the stalk erect, petals stout and fresh. We also do the pulsing solutions. Pulsing, I was talking at the beginning. Pulsing is again motivating, keeping the enthusiastic, cheerful life. For example, for human being, we will be sometimes will be more cheerful, enthusiastic because of either because of the good news or the good when you will be eating with some fresh, tasty food stuff. Here, the flowers also enjoys like that with some of the chemicals. So here, the flowers cut and stalk will be dipped in some of the solutions for maintaining its pulsingness. Means here, temporarily, the stalk is dipped in a concentrated solutions of the either sugar or some of the chemicals, so that that concentrated sugar solutions absorbed at the content will be helpful for maintaining the flower turgidity for longer time and flower shelf life for longer time. This is how the conditioning is done and the fruit stalk is dipped in a solution containing present in the bucket. Here you can see the solution which is poured in the bucket and content of the stalks are dipped in this for conditioning or even the pulsing also the looks same. Then comes the holding solutions. Here the holding solution is different from the pulsing solution. Holding solution is the one which is there forever till it reaches to the consumer's point. Whereas pulsing solution is the one which is given for shorter period by using concentrated solutions at the production point before packing. So pulsing solution is at the production site for motivating, making the enthusiastic turgidity. So a pulsing solution is done at the production point, whereas holding solutions, after the pulsing solutions, we have to sell it to the consumer. So till it reaches to the consumer, we keep the flowers in the water, which is a water containing very diluted concentration of some of the chemicals, either in the dipping in the water or wet cotton will be kept at the stock end. So this will be there till the flower loses its complete life, and that is called as holding solutions. Yeah, we keep some of the flowers in the vase. So in vase we keep some of the sometimes we keep the water or simple water, or we keep small quantity of sugar in it. So that is called as holding solutions. Holding solutions should be there, maintained till the flower maintains its freshness. So once it is faded or shriveled, shrunken, then we throw it out. So till that point, we maintain the holding solutions. And sometimes there will be a difficulty because immature buds will be there when we harvest. So we have to do the bud opening operations. So use of some of the germicides, sucrose, and some hormonal solutions are being used for bud opening. And another terminology will come, impregnations. The loading of the flowers with high concentration of silver nitrate, nickel chloride, cobalt chloride for a short period of time is known as impregnations. It is helpful in reducing the microbial load and ethylene production in the cut flowers. So microbes are also responsible for blockage of the xylem channel, blockage of the phloem channel. So microbes should not be entertained in the channel. So those can be overcome by impregnation of the cut end stock by these chemicals for overcoming the microbial blockage in the xylem vessels and the phloem vessels. Especially this is true, it is a problem in case of gerbera, carnation, chrysanthemum, and gladiolus. Because even if you dip in the water, the cut end, sometimes even after dipping, you see the drying of the flowers or bending of the stalk. So drying of the flower, bending of the stalk, even after dipping in water, is mainly because of the blockage of xylem channel, and that is mainly because of the microbes present in that enter into the xylem vessel that blocks the water flow, and even if you are dipping in the container, that will not carry the water. So that because of that, the stalk loses its turgidity, the flower loses its freshness, and that is the reason even after dipping in the water, you will not get the quality flowers. So microbe which cannot be seen, but they will be there in the one or the other way for damaging the commodity. Under such circumstances, especially in case of long stalk fruit, gerbera, carnation, chrysanthemum, gladiolus, we can think of impregnation with the chemicals, with the germicides and microbial. Then we come across the grading. So grading, as I was talking, grading in fruit crops we studied, grading vegetables crops we studied. There, the grading was we did grading based on the size of the fruits, color of the fruits, the shape of the fruits, maturity of the fruits, presence or absence of the blemishes, presence of the crackingness, attacking of the insects, attacking of pests, presence of lesions on the surface of the skin. All those things have been considered for grading. But here, those things are not really. But here, grading is mainly done based on the, in case of flowers, is based on the stock. Stock is the first and foremost quality parameter required for grading. So, how much stock it has, the flowers, whether long stalk, small stalk, or cut flower, or whether it is in bunches. In case of rose, we sell a single rose. In case of chrysanthemum, we sell the bunches of the flowers, isn't it? So, and in case of gladiolus, gerbera, and gladiolus and lily, tuberose, we see many buds on a single inflorescence. So, how many buds should be there, and how many buds should be opened on a given inflorescence? Whether one bud opening, second bud opening, third bud opening, how exactly? Based on that, and what is the stalk length it has? Based on that, grading is done. So, stalk length, number of open buds, number of buds present on a inflorescence, whether it is a single flower sold. If it is single flower sold like rose, gerbera, what is the stalk length? So stalk length is also considered. So based on that, grading is done. So grading means grouping of flowers based on the quality prior to the marketing. After harvesting, flowers should be graded according to the specifications of local and distance market. Grading is different from one place to other place, from small town to the bigger town, from bigger town to the metropolitan town, and from metropolitan town to the export market. So that too we'll be seeing in the few pictures in a forthcoming slides. So it is on the parameters like appearance, stage of maturity, blemishes, injuries due to disease, infections caused by the insect pest, color, size of the buds, straightness and strength. Straightness here refer to the stalk, and strength it has as and length of the stem. So let us come to know how the roses are being graded. Here it is as per the European Union, the grades. You can see this. You can see the individual things are being held here, and based on the stalk length, you can see. So as per the European standards, here the codes have been given, and length of this mainly based on the length of the stalk here. You can see the length of the stalk and measurement based on that they have been graded. So here codes have been given and length of the stem has been quoted. If it is a 0 code, it should have less than 5. If any flower having less than 5 centimeter stalk is 0 code. Any flower, rose flower, it is applicable only rose. Rose flower having 5 to 10 centimeter stalk is considered as a 5 code 5. The rose stem having 10 to 15 centimeter stalk is considered under the 10 code. Similarly, any stem rose having the 122 and more centimeter, which is called as the code under 120, this one. So even the American also, as per the American standards, so they are given especially for the hybrid teas and the sweethearts, that types of the roses. Their grading is different. Here the stalk length is given for different 56 centimeter, 36 centimeter for the hybrids. For hybrid, it should be more stalk length, and for the varieties, it should be less length. So here, for different colored one, based on the as per American standards, mainly based on the stalk length of this one flowers. Here, she is measuring the stalk length of the flower to categorize them into different grades. In case of the chrysanthemum is not a single flower one. Chrysanthemum comes in bunches. So here this is chrysanthemum grading is different. How many flowers are there in per bunch? What is that stiffness, straightness of the flower? What is the shininess? What is the color it has? Based on that, chrysanthemum is graded. But again, they have been categorized into based on we come across chrysanthemum standard types, spray types, and dwarf types. Here, mainly they are being graded based on stem length, stem weight, and number of flowers present in that. So these 3 parameters are considered for the grading, and with the different varieties. And even with the colors, it's mainly stem length is considered in case of stem length, in case of colored one. But here the main chrysanthemum is stem length and stem weight, number of flowers, because it's a multi-flowered flower. In case of this one, these are the parameters considered in case of this one. You cannot remember these points based on across the table while explaining, but you can have this information in the notes. What all the standards these figures you can have in the notes. Grading in carnation. So you can see this carnation flowers is again the single flower, or even case of double one. Mainly single stalk is preferred, but here carnation, the stalk length is mainly considered in case of the grading of carnations. So here, so they are doing the grading and packing and export business here in case of carnation. And you can see this fancy types and standard types on this one. And minimum flower, what should be the minimum flower diameter and minimum stalk length? Minimum stalk length is 55 for this category and 43 for this category and 30 for another category. So here, diameter of the flower and stalk length is considered in case of carnations. In Gerber also we come across grading based on length of the stem, because it's a single flower sold, and should not be less than 40 centimeters and should be firm and straight. It should be, you might have seen that the stalk should be straight. If the Gerbera stalk bend, means it has lost its efficiency in retaining longer period. It means it loses vase life or storability. And one is stalk should be straight and 40 centimeter minimum, and the size of the flower should be uniform and more than 6 centimeter in diameter. That should be the good characteristics of the gerbera. And here also some of the standards have been given. The grade, they are grade number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are grade numbers, and what is the respective stem length, flower diameter, flower color, and here among all, if we see the worldwide market, so the stem length more than 60 centimeter, flower diameter is more than 12 centimeter, and which is pink is preferred. Out of total marketed in the world, 40% is preference given to this kind of. Then 20% for reddish and orange, and with the 50 to 60, and 20% preference for 40 to 60 and orange colors. And the least preference which we come across as per the worldwide market is for the yellow types, which is less than 30 centimeter stalk length. And grading in gladiolus. Again, we have the grades like fancy grades, special grades. Fancy grade is nothing but grade A, special grade is nothing but grade B, standard grade is nothing but grade C, and the utility grade in case of gladiolus is grade D. But for these gradings, the quality parameter should have is spike length is considered, and number of florets present in this that is considered for this one. So you can see this how the gladiolus work is done. Then another important one is the export market flower we come across in the especially metropolitan cities is, and more bigger towns is anthurium. So anthurium, we have the different types of anthuriums, deep red color, white color, and pink colored anthuriums are there in even in our locality in Karnataka and in the export market. So if any preference is there, that can be colored and sold also, but natural color, we have the 3 color one. For these one grades, they have been graded as miniature grade, small grade, medium grade, large grade, extra grade, and large grade, and jumbo. So these are the grades given for the anthurium based on the spathe size and average length within average length and width of the spathe. Length and width of the spathe is considered mainly for this one, and based on that, they have been graded as miniature to jumbo grades in case of anthurium. And we have another important beautiful flower is the lily. Lilies you might have seen in our campus also. We have, I think, lily towards the main building, around the main building, and you might have seen in the gardens also. Lily is another export-oriented flowers, but it has its own quality parameters like for grading. So here are the grades. These are the grades and the price per stem. So each grade differs with the price. If it is A plus grade, and if it is this variety, 25, and it is 35 rupees. So grading differs the cost also. Means when you say that it is a C grade of Asiatic, it is 10 rupees. When it is A grade, A plus of Asiatic, 25. So grading also gives the immediate idea about what would be the cost of that one. Then we also come across the packaging of the flowers. As we studied in the previous chapters, packaging is the technology of enclosing or protecting the products for distribution, storage, sale, and use. So packaging prevents water loss. Packaging here in the floriculture prevents water loss. It protects from the external factors and it protects from the physical damage. And in case of rural areas, we normally come across these kind of packages in India. We see the bamboo baskets, we see the gunny bags. Initially, they fill in, take it to the market. Majorly, we also see this flowers are harvested, and this type, it is tied like this in the soft cloth and sold. This is the packaging which is followed in India. But whereas if we are targeting for the export market, international market, all three should be avoided. All three should be avoided and go for external market, international expected means and methods of packaging. These are the traditional packaging methods. So what are those improved method of this one? So we have, instead of that packing in these one, we have the improved corrugated boxes now. So instead of selling them in a cloth or gunny bag, we can keep them in a corrugated boxes, and it should be good visibility and versatile. It should have the good strength. The packaging material should have the good strength, whereas it doesn't have the strength at all. It doesn't have the strength at all to protect the commodities. So we should have the good strength for protecting the commodity, and it should have good serviceability. So you can easily handle and transport and pack and loaded even the aeroplanes or wherever you feel. And it has good ventilations. It has good ventilations. It is for totally approximately 4% ventilation is provided. So corrugated fiberboard is another packaging materials, and we also come across the another different packaging materials. This corrugated paper roll, the polyethylene bags, the butter paper bags, CFP papers, aluminum laminated foils, polyethylene sheets. These are another improved types of packaging materials. Instead of using gunny bags and all, these are the improved method of packaging. So these are the polyethylene films where we can use the packing of the flowers, low density polyethylene films, aluminum foils, and CFP papers. These can be corrugated fiberboard papers can be used, and the roses can be kept in bundles, and those bundles can be again packed in a carton boxes. So these bundles are kept in a bulk, and they can be packed in these kind of boxes. So we have the cello wrapping papers also now available for wrapping the commodities. So we have the still advanced packaging material for flowers called CFP boxes with holes. So corrugated fiberboard boxes there with holes, so you can easily pack, and there will be good ventilations. Your flowers can also be packed in the thermocol boxes. So even the small flowers or whatever the flowers, maintaining them in fresh conditions, they are packed in thermocol boxes and exported to the different markets. So this is the export market where that's how we see here, and packed and ready for sale. So shrink wrapping is another method of packaging, but usually it is done for the dried flowers nowadays, shrink wrapping. And of course, it is for some shrink wrapping is done for some of the fresh samples, leafy samples also. And you can see and we also come across the modified atmospheric packaging. Modified atmospheric packaging it is packed in a packages where initial atmosphere is maintained to maybe, for example, 2 to 5% of oxygen, 8 to 12% of the carbon dioxide. The normal air contains, as you know, the normal composition of air is 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and 0.03% of carbon dioxide. So at this gaseous mixture, the flower will be respiring more. All of you are catching my point. At this gaseous mixture, 78% of nitrogen, mainly 21%. Our normal air contains 21% of oxygen and 0.03% of carbon dioxide. Mainly at this composition of air, flower respires more. So to prevent the respiration rate, we are modifying the compositions of the packaging materials. We are sealing them by flushing the air containing hardly 2 to 5% of oxygen, and so we are reducing, instead of 21%, we are reducing the oxygen concentrations, and instead of 0.03%, we are increasing concentration of carbon dioxide. So oxygen is required for respiration plus, so we are making negative to give the punishment to the flower. Punishment means we are restricting the breathing. And what is another one toxicity creating is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide at minor level is required for better breathing here, but we are increasing carbon dioxide to 8 to 12%. Means we are reducing the oxygen, which is a difficulty for respiration to the flowers. We are increasing carbon dioxide, which again creating the difficulty in respiration of the flowers. So ultimately, we are creating a situation in such a way that flower respires very slowly, and very intention that we are reducing the respiration rate to get extended storability or waste life. So instead of finishing its life within 2 days, we are making it to, say for example, a flower breathes 100 times. Example, it is an example I am telling. If a flower in its lifetime breathes 100 times, consider this as an example. So that 100 times breathing will be over within a day if it is kept outside the climate conditions. If it is kept in the open sunlight, 100 times breathing will be over. It will be faded within 2-3 hours in the open sunlight, in the afternoon sunlight. So same, instead of keeping our afternoon sunlight, if we keep in the morning hours or evening hours, that 100 time will be completing maybe around 50 hours or 60 hours. Same flower, if we are keeping in the controlled conditions, means where the flower faces difficulty of respirations. So same 100 breathings, it needs 4 or 5 days to complete 100 breathing. So we are making this logicity only. We are making the flower to complete its 100 breathings. Instead of 4 or 5 hours in sunlight, instead of 10 12 hours in the cool climate conditions, we are restricting the flower to finish its breathing over a period of 10 days or 15 days. So extending the shelf life or longevity, living period of the flower by restricting the breathingness or respiration rate. This is a logicity in our modified atmospheric. So 2.5% oxygen in this one, his mixture faces difficulty in breathing, so that more days, number of days are required for breathing, and that is called as waste life or storability. Hope all of you are following me. But in case of modified atmospheric packaging, initially this much composition is maintained, but later on it gets modified. So if we flush 2.4 a gas containing 2.4 oxygens, because it is in polyethylene, it gets modified because of the respiration activity of the flower, or because of some of the materials kept, modified chemicals, sachets are kept in the bottom. Because of this, either sachets kept or because of respiration process of the commodity kept there, the internal oxygen composition of carbon dioxide gets modified here in case of modified atmospheric packaging. But whereas in case of controlled atmospheric storage, it is not like that. Controlled atmosphere, even if internal gaseous composition modified,